Welcome back, Canada. You're watching Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, alias the Guy. Well, this media campaign, slander ad campaign, is raising a bit of a stink. There's a lot to it. I decided to kind of dig because nobody could find like who really runs it and what's going on, and so literally I've been in this chair for way too long, all day. Actually, it's late. I found an endless supply of corruption. Endless. So we're just going to get started right off the hop. So this is the website. They post really nasty ads. I'm going to run just a quick clip.
You will pay. You're not changing the subject. I know you want to change the subject.
Significant increases in the effective retirement age.
The easy version on Pierre Poilievre is that he's the Donald Trump of the North.
We want those great Canadian truckers to know that we are with them all the way.
I'm proud of the truckers and I stand with them.
Page, can you give me the page? Give me the page. You keep saying that.
Will you dismantle pharmacy?
Okay. I watched a few of these different, they're all, I'm surprised YouTube allows them. This is rule number 1 to ethics, being an influencer or a media news kind of political outlet. You don't twist the truth. A lot of my episodes end up being really long because I try to ensure I show both sides of the story. Unless somebody's being an idiot, then I'll just show they're being an idiot. So we got lots to go through. Anyways, this group, this page started October 15th. Dates are important. Somewhat, because we'll be making a later video. But anyways, I'm going to read you something. A third-party group run by a former NDP and Liberal staffers has launched an advertising campaign against Pierre Poilievre in an attempt to go dollar for dollar with the Conservatives on ad spending. The campaign comes from a prospect of a snap election grows as the Liberals gripe over what they see as slow and inadequate attempts to contrast the Conservative leader's record with the Trudeau government through advertising. The Tories, flush with cash from record fundraising, spent $8.5 million to get their message out last year, more than 20 times as much as the Liberal government, who has only spent $380,000. Now, Protecting Canada, an anonymously funded group with ties to the NDP, Liberals, and major unions, says it wants to fill the vacuum and unite progressives to stand up to conservative media machine that fuels hypocrisy. Right. Our ambition is to match conservative infrastructure dollar for dollar and spend as much as it takes. Important, said spokesperson Meghana Ramaswamy. Remember this name. But the financial backers of the group are shrouded in secrecy. Ramaswamy, the only public face of the group, did not answer questions about specific funders, only saying the group was backed by progressive individuals and organizations wanting to unite Canadians against Poilievre. Filings with the Ontario government shed some light on who's behind the nonprofit group. Its directors are former senior NDP staffers Ian Wayne and David Hare, Brian LeBlanc, who worked for the Ontario Liberals in the Kathleen Wynne era, and on former Liberal Minister Sheila Copp's 2004 federal leadership campaign, and former Canadian Labour Congress Executive Barbara Byers. Don Miller, an advertising specialist who has worked on federal Liberal campaigns and with former BC Premier Christy Clark, a potential federal Liberal leadership candidate, is a former director of the group. So, there's more to this. Before I even started really digging, I remembered something like this happening to O'Toole. So I'm going to read on, and we'll get to that. So former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney is expected to formally announce his bid to replace Prime Minister Justin Trudeau late next week, a source close to his campaign told CBC News. The source who spoke on the conditions that they not be named because they were not authorized to speak publicly said Carney has more than 30 MPs backing him. The source suggested he picked up support after Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc closed the door on leadership earlier this week. Dominic LeBlanc is an important character. He'll be in the future episodes once I really start tying this mess together. LeBlanc closed the door on the leadership earlier this week. Carney, who more recently was the Bank of England governor, has long been touted as a potential leadership candidate, and it would be considered one of the front runners in the race as it launches into high gear. The 59-year-old had been tapped as a special advisor for the beleaguered party with the official title of Chair of the Leader's Task Force on Economic Growth. Remember, he keeps saying he didn't work for him. Right there, he broke laws. Moving on. A source told CBC News former Liberal Communications Director Braden Cayley is expected to have a key role with Carney's campaign. Now, I read all that so you can get out that name. It's another name that's going to be very important. So this is Aaron O'Toole's. A new third-party advocacy group is launching an ad campaign aimed at ensuring Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole never becomes Prime Minister. The Protecting Canada project will start airing today its first 30-second ad in English and French television. Guess who's in it? Spokesperson Ian Wayne, who formerly worked for the NDP leader Jack Layton and Tom Mulcair. And then he goes into a spiel, trying to sell it more. Right? This isn't a new campaign. These are the same people. These are all the same people. There may be new people and some people are gone, but they're all part of the same group. And we're getting to this. Another one on O'Toole. He goes off to say, blah, 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 worked for NDP leader Jack Layton. We already know all that. Scrolls down a little bit. It says, changes to the Canada Elections Act in 2018 impose spending limits on advocacy groups and require them to disclose donors during the 3-month pre-writ period before an election is called, as well as during the campaign. But the restrictions assume an election will happen on a date set in law about 4 years after the last national vote. See all these dates? These dates are important. These dates are important. So, January 22nd, they dropped it on O'Toole. Right? October 11th, they came in and started up as of last year. They're safe. They're safe. And in tracing these names, I run across another one. It's called Project for a Strong BC. These guys worked for EB. And again, it's perfectly legal according to BC's election laws. Third-party advertisers not required to register, blah, 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 blah. Right? They know the law. They know how this works. They don't have to expose themselves. You're never going to find out who's giving them hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions, like this campaign with Carney. He's big bucks. Millions. They're in the millions. What 77% of Canadians have spent giving to their choice, their choice, is going to be outspent by a handful of multimillionaires and corporations in advertising. That's not democratic. It names off a few more names. David Portis, former NDP, blah, blah, blah. Schlechter, nah. He did not respond to interview requests. Instead, an Alberta-based representative of an Ottawa-headquartered public relations firm did. Meghana Ramaswamy. Hello. She's in all three of these. Senior strategist with Emdash Agency. She did not answer any questions about the amount of funding or sourcing of funding for the ad, which is a movie trailer themed recap of Conservative leader John Rustad of the BC United leader Kevin Falcon's past as cabinet ministers in the BC Liberal government. Ramaswamy said the campaign wraps up when? Mid-July. You getting this? So now we know that there's outside influence hiding money through false, like, I don't even know what you call them. I have no idea what you call them. They're not a non-profit. That's not a non-profit. But that's what they are. That's what they're claiming they are. And then they're laundering money because they know when to shut the tap off so they don't have to expose everybody involved. And then what? All of a sudden they're gone and they change their name. They add one word and they got a brand new name. And it's all the same people. Now we're going to move on to this Megan Ramaswamy. This is just a puff page. If that's supposed to be a representation of something you do, I'm sorry. I have no idea. But I know one thing. This woman is involved in some serious nasty business. And I'm just going to open a little bit today. Oh, yes. And him. That's later research. Anyways, I needed to put some names together. So, Meghana Ramaswamy, identified as a senior strategist at Emdash Agency, is also noted as a spokesperson for the Protecting Canada campaign, which is linked to former NDP and Liberal staff. Her role in the campaign suggests a connection to political strategists aligned with these parties, though not necessarily direct employment by the parties themselves. So she's in, full flint. Now, posts on X show that Emdash Agency's executives have connections to the Liberal NDP initiatives such as Truth and Reconciliation, Medical Assistance in Dying, indicating a history of working on projects or campaigns that align with the agendas of these political parties. Well, okay, so they're getting government grants. I see. So then I threw in another name there. That Braden Cayley had me kind of going because I knew he was appointed. I wondered who appointed him. Braden Cayley was appointed as Canada's 2020's new executive director by the organization itself. The announcement was made by Canada 2020 with specific mentions from Anne Gainey, who is the executive chair of Canada 2020. Piecing this together. Anne Gainey has connections to both Mark Carney and the Liberal Party. Connections to Mark Carney. Gainey and Carney are connected through Canada 2020, where Gainey was the executive chair and Carney is noted as the chair of the advisory board. This indicates a professional relationship within the context of this policy think tank. There are also mentions of Gainey hosting a fundraiser for Carney, suggesting a personal or political support network. Anne Gainey has a strong association with the Liberal Party of Canada. She was elected as a Liberal MP for Notre Dame de Grace Westmount. That's where I remembered her. In a by-election in 2023, and previously served as the party's president between 2014 and 2018. Her involvement in Trudeau's leadership campaign and her marriage to Tom Pitfield, who has connections to the Liberal Party's digital campaign efforts, further cement her ties to the Liberals. Okay. So, let's take a look at Emdash. And as you go through it, you realize everything in this company, well, 75% of what I've clicked on has all been government funded. This so-called advertising agency is no more than a money laundering Liberal front. You could call it the digital SS. They're out trying to brainwash people using your own dollar to do it, and they're all lining their pockets. Listen to some of these. Universities Canada and CCAN. Public Service Alliance of Canada. That's PSAC. Public Service Alliance again. Council of Canadians. Protecting Canada. That's an interesting one. And what does it say? Poilievre doesn't want you to smile. Interesting. So that's what they do in their free time while they're spending your government money on their own crap. Now they got a couple here. Law firms, native law firm and stuff. There's money. There's piles of money involved. Government money. All of them. Tackling climate change. Forest Products Association of Canada. Senator Kim Pat. Right here. Senator. Appointed by Trudeau. November 10th, 2016. A so-called independent. I call bullcrap. I call bullcrap. Forest Association of Canada, Canadian Association of Maid, Accessors and Providers. The Noble Women's Initiative, that's got government funded. It's all government. This is all government. Every bit of it. And I love this one. Great touch. Hey, Mr. Ford, not the brother. Greenbelt Foundation. Greenbelt Foundation. Dedicated to ensuring the Greenbelt remains permanent, protected, and prosperous. $12 million funding renewal. 2024. From the Ontario government. They're paying for this company. That's all they advertise. And then right in the middle of it is this. 2025 election, protecting Canada. Do you see how deep this is? This whole thing is government funded. This whole agency, or this Emdash, this isn't independent at all. This is a money laundering scheme. This is horrible. These people are crooks. They're literally crooks. And I'm not even touching the names. All those names. All those names. They're all linked. I've got so much work ahead of me. I've got notebooks and 50 pages open, 150 saved, a whole bunch put down on my hard drive. I've been here all day. And I'm trying to tie this in because some of these names are correlating with some of the other stuff I've been finding. This is crazy. Make sure you let everybody know that, about these attack ads. This is insane. Tax dollars paying for our own demise. Well, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Punch that notification key for future episodes. I hope you enjoyed today's. That was a lot to take in. I got lots to do, and I look forward to straightening it all out and giving it to you on another edition of Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm Alias the Guy. Have a great day.